Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and I'm happy to be back on the show again. Do you read fiction or non-fiction? That's a question I like to ask people, and it's amazing. People who read fiction tend not to read non-fiction, and those who read non-fiction, you ask them, have you read this novel or that fictional work? They look at you strangely and say, no, 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 no. I don't touch fictional works. But I like to mix them up. I enjoy both. I enjoy fiction as much as I enjoy non-fiction works. Now, this one with us today is fiction, brilliant fiction, I should say. Dear Alaere, written by Eriye Onagoruwa. It's something that once you pick up, you really want to finish. It's just a small-sized novel. Let's get to meet with the author, Eriye, and then get into the discussion with her as we explore her novel. Enjoy this.
Eriye Onagoruwa is a lawyer, writer, and financial literacy advocate. She's an energy executive with various experiences cutting across the oil and gas sector. Eriye is passionate about women's causes and teaches them important subjects like investment and financial literacy. Dear Alaere is her debut book.
Eriye, nice to have you on Channels Book Club. It's
Nice
great to have you
to
here.
be here. Thank you. Good morning, Kuli.
Great to have you here. Wow. Dear Alaere. Alaere is how you pronounce this name, right?
No, Alaere.
Alaere. Okay, I always said I will ask you. You know when you are reading a name, it's different from when you hear
When you actually get it pronounced.
Alaere. Where does that name come from, by the way?
Bayelsa State.
It's Bayelsa?
Yeah.
Ah. Okay, great. Well done. I love your cover.
Thank you.
I like your title.
Thank you.
The central character, Alaere, in this book, journals a lot. You know, she has this journal where she writes her thoughts, her experience. I'm coming back to ask you that.
Okay.
Yeah, but before then, about you, a professional woman in the energy sector, busy. How did you write this? How did you get to write this? Writing a novel is one of the most difficult tasks ever. Am I right?
True. Very true.
What's your story? What's the story behind the book?
Okay, so again, thank you for having me on your show. Dear Alaere was born out of frustration. I was at a point in my career where I felt very stuck in a rut. Like I kept on like, but you can do better, you know. So I'll go to the office just tired, like thinking there was more to this. And then I started to think inwards, but Eriye, you've always loved to write because I started writing when I was like 8. I think I did my first book there. So I just started thinking, look, why don't you, start doing something that actually makes you happy? And yeah, I started Dear Alaere. So after 9 to 5, I would go home like a real project. I would sit down, face Dear Alaere, come back the next day, and yeah, that was how it was born.
That professional frustration is the story of millions of people all over the world. You just go to that job, you are tired.
Tired.
You know you can do more. You
I
know
was
there is
tired,
more.
yes.
Much more in you, and you want to get it out.
Exactly.
Congratulations, because very few people eventually, take that step to get that extra out. They get stuck in the rut for many years. One day they wake up and they are 75 years old.
True.
And life has just passed them by.
Bye. Yeah.
Well done. That's a good one.
Thank you.
How about the writing experience itself? When I was reading the book, Alaere's own experience of writing was very helpful, for her. How was it for you as a writer, writing this? The writing experience itself. Did you find it difficult, challenging, enjoyable? What was it like?
It was enjoyable. Initially, when I wrote Dear Alaere, this wasn't the format. I had it written in past tense and all of that. And then it went through several rounds of editing. And my last editor was like, she felt there was so much energy in the book and she wanted it to be in present tense where people could just sort of feel the energy, flow with the energy in the book. But yeah, aside from that, I found it exciting. I found it challenging, and I enjoyed the experience.
How about the parts which I always like to ask writers, fiction writers, the part of creating the characters. It's almost like a godlike power, you know. This character doesn't exist. You created the character in your mind, and then, you know, the family, the temperaments, the character, the experiences, all yours to create. What was that like?
I found it, like you said, it's like a power that you have and you're unleashing it as you keep writing. I'll tell you, for instance, Alhaji Wasiu happens to be my favorite character.
Yeah, the driver.
Yes,
the driver.
yes. And then when writing about him, like sometimes I would just bust out laughing, like, because it was just so much fun creating. And then it also, like, it showed me the power of imagination, how you can just imagine and actually put things together to make it work. So I found that, and I like that question. I found it very exciting. Actually. Yeah.
Great. Now, for people who are watching us wondering, what are they talking about? What's this book about? Let's summarize this book. I know you don't want to give up so many things. You don't want to tell the whole story. You want people to go and get the book and read. But what's this story about in summary?
I would say is about a lady, a professional lady, just going through life in Lagos. Lagos specifically, I use it as a mirror for Nigeria. And then that work-life integration, if she does achieve it, all the challenges that come with being a professional in Lagos, in Nigeria, that you probably don't hear people talk about, your work-life balance, just getting up and making it through the day, and then coming back, fertility challenges, all sorts of, there's so many things that society throws at you. But more importantly for me, as I know that a lot of people read it and say, oh, this is about, you know, what women go through. But I also wrote it with looking at Nigeria, like a mosaic of Nigeria, all the different factors that make Nigeria look like it's a failed state. Everything we have to go through on a daily basis. I use the office. I use Lagos to paint that picture.
This professional lady working in Lagos, she experiences sexual harassment at work. She experiences office politics. She experiences all sorts of things in her workplace, on the one hand. Yeah. So she's dealing with that. On the other hand, she has a happy marriage, but doesn't have a baby.
Yeah.
And that threatens to impact negatively on her marriage. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you told the story of that, societal pressure, cultural pressure, and all sorts of things. That encapsulates this book, right?
It does.
You know, why this particular story?
So when I started, again, thank you for that. When I started, I wanted to just zero in on the office, yeah, because at least I hadn't seen any book, any Nigerian book that had delved into work life. You know, what happens when you go to the office. You know, you normally just about it as friends and colleagues. Did you see what happened? But I had never seen any book try to examine the office. So that was my first priority, to sort of push out the office life.
So yeah. it was the office life you wanted to portray in that story.
Yes.
And you did a lot on that. All the characters in her offices. I mean, from the very first office was Lady K.
Yeah.
Who was having an affair with Chief, the boss.
The boss.
That happens a lot at work.
It does.
A lot.
It does.
I'm asking.
Yes, it does. It does. It does. And most times, why has was really funny is because sometimes you're talking to somebody at work and you're thinking, this is my friend, let me report, you know, like report my supervisor and tell you, look, this is what is happening. But you may not even be aware that your friend actually has something to do with the supervisor.
And that was the problem with, in that particular case, Lady K was not her friend.
Yeah.
Lady K was her supervisor.
Yeah.
But her supervisor was having an affair with the overall boss,
yeah.
Chief.
And recall, she was telling Chief about her problem.
And she was going to report Lady K to
Chief.
Wow. You know, when I saw that, I said, oh my, she's in soup. In fact, when she found out
she was in soup
that Lady K was having an affair with Chief, she said, I'm finished.
Morogo,
I'm done. Yeah, because that portrays real life experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens in the workplace,
True.
right? And then there were, of course, the men who were interested in her. She was married. That's also common in the workplace,
Very
right?
common. Very, very common in the workplace.
What did you experience these in your own personal life,
To be
or
honest,
you observed them?
I would say more of observation. I had a lot of friends. Most of this, I spoke with a lot of friends. I spoke with a lot of people who were just eager to unburden some things they've gone through. And then I've been in the office space for a long while, and I've seen things. So it was easy. It was easy to put these things together because they are not fiction, even though it's a fictional story, but they happen. And that's why a lot of people who read it say it's relatable. They can relate to it because they see it.
Now, then you try to look at her approach to balancing her life. The workplace pressure, all the dramas in the workplace, then her personal life. Why did you pick that particular challenge in her personal life? The challenge of not having a child for quite a number of years. As a writer, why did you pick that particular theme?
I'll tell you easily because it's, I would say, it's one of the biggest challenges that women face. And it's not new, and it doesn't get any easier. It just depends on the parties involved. So it's almost like a no-brainer. You're going to work, but you're not settled because at home you're dealing with so many things. Some people it's an abusive marriage. Some people it's childbearing. But for me, it was easier to speak about that because a lot of women go through real anguish when there's an inability or failure to have kids in the marriage.
Not having a child was the problem of her husband, Laja, not her.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I found that very interesting. So Laja's mom was putting her under pressure, but she didn't know that it was actually her own son that had the problem stopping them from having a child. Tell me about that.
So again, that was, will I say, an aha moment. So I was writing, and then I was like, how about we say, that let's twist the story a bit, because naturally people tend to think the woman is at fault. So I wanted to look at a different scenario where the husband is actually at fault, but because of societal pressure, the woman has to act most times as if she's at fault, as if she's the one to blame. And notice that even when Alaere, Laja, and her mother-in-law had that confrontation, even when Laja tried to explain, she wasn't buying that. It was like, it has to be your wife, like, I mean, the man can't have any issues.
People always believe it's the woman that has issues.
Yeah.
So, this book has been out not too long, but for a while now. What have you seen so far? What you've observed so far, have you found it encouraging enough to get you thinking about your next book?
I will say that I always had in mind to write again, and it wasn't going to be based on the reaction of people to Dear Alaere. The truth is there are a lot of stories to be told, and you have to be passionate enough to want to tell those stories. So for me, I have so many stories to tell, and I'm looking forward to writing. I like the response so far, but if it was the other way around, I will still write.
You still have written that next book.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you send me a copy.
I will.
It's been great to have you on Channels Book Club.
Thank you. It's been wonderful having you as well. Thank you so much.